ओके, लेट मी गो टू अंशिका। अंशिका, समराइज करो आप क्विकली।
Sir, I think the chapter falls into various heads, and I think major इसमें protocols वगैरह के बारे में हमने पढ़ा था. Is this the right chapter that I'm saying, or is that environment I'm speaking about?
If you are talking about protocols, then it is environment, क्योंकि इसमें
Uh,
प्रोटोकॉल मेगा ट्रेंड से स्टार्ट होता है, and then slowly it goes into different typical topic which we have learned in last session in 50 minutes. In those video I have explained you already, right? Human rights पे focus है, work culture पे focus है।
oh, yeah. और सर दो तीन केस स्टडीज भी थे.
हाँ, उसमें केस स्टडीज है और उसमें भी दो तीन कन्वेंशन है। ओईसीडी वाला है जो आपको।
करेक्ट 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 करेक्ट.
करेक्ट। सो
यस.
परफेक्ट। तो आपने पढ़ा है, पूरा नहीं पढ़ा है, सो
सर
दैट
पढ़ा है पर मुझे ना अभी ऐसे ऑन द टिप्स याद नहीं है, एंड आई एम काइंड ऑफ कंफ्यूजिंग बिटवीन
इन्वायरमेंट।
इन्वायरमेंटल एंड सोशल. हाँ, वो थोड़ा टॉपिक्स
बस
मिक्स हो रखा है
उससे
मेरा.
ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस करो आप। एंड ऑफ द चैप्टर के भी क्वेश्चन है, उसको भी सॉल्व करो।
दैट आई डू सर.
तो वो करेंगे तो आपको आइडिया मिल जाएगा। बहुत अच्छा। ओके, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट टुडे सोशल फैक्टर। वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड overview of social factor, understood different parts of it, and went into detail in last session. Today I'm just trying to cover each of those topic in detail, okay, going forward. So there are 6 learning outcome in this particular chapter. 5 of those are 6 of those are listed here. Specifically, what you have to understand, the different category which we are learning in social factor. From the point of view that how it helps in creating a company which remains and becomes sustainable in long term. Clear? We start with looking into systemic relationship of social fabric into the different activity a company does. Here, what CFA ESG curricula expect from you is that you should be able to explain this relationship, and specifically this systemic relationship and the activity between the business activities and social issues, which includes globalization, automation, and artificial intelligence, everything which is very relevant today. Now, globalization, now we have to understand in 2025 from a point of view of isolation as well. There is a very nice video, if I get a time, I will run for you all, uh, which is of Singaporean, minister who has tried to address this topic, and he is highlighting that he has been warning world that globalization as a concept is dying and isolation is a concept which is picking up, and most of the countries have developed such kind of isolation or wants to develop such kind of isolation, and country like a smaller country like Singapore, whose economy is based on export, need to change its strategy. So that video, if I get a time and you guys want, I will play. Now, so globalization is one. And in 2025, even isolation is another topic, with Trump coming into play and tariff war, world war, etc., etc. Second topic is automation and artificial intelligence, which we have to understand, and which would be able to explain this topic, which is, of course, it's a nationalistic topic, not only a local level social issue, but it's an international issue, right? Which we need to understand in terms of technology development and how that impacts our manpower capacity, manpower morale, manpower upgradation, upskilling, and how companies should take care of it. Then also we need to look into economic inequality, the divide between rich and poor, which is growing, how we should address it so that it doesn't create a discontent in mind of people, along with digital disruption, which is happening every now and then, right? As I was telling last time, that industry 5.0 has come very soon, and every new industrial era is coming at a shorter period of time rather than longer. For example, the first one, industry 1.0, which is started with a steam engine and coal fire railways, has 100 years of its growth which it has seen, and then came connectivity, then came industry 2.0, automation, robotization came 3, industry 3.0, industry 4, where everything started getting connected, industry 4.0, IoT, we say, internet of thing, etc. Now, all this industrialization has a shorter span, 100 year from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 is 40 year, 3 to 4 is hardly 20 year, right? In 2023, we saw 4.5 or 5, you can say, after launch of AI. Generative AI has changed the life, and this impacts manpower and its capacity. And that requires my company need to change, and that relationship I need to understand. Are you with me? Also, you have to take care of the change of to work-life balance. Now, the new generation we were discussing in detail last time that they have a different, completely different mindset. Right, wrong, we are no one to decide. But that mindset need to be captured in the working culture of companies. The company who fails to do become an ancient and antique. The company who adopts with such kind of work-life balance creates a longer term companies. And that's why change in workforce and their family, the demography, which is changing, like DINK, you know, double income, no kids kind of people, how to address them. That is also a era gone. Now, double income, one pet. That's how the new era is, right? एक एक गाय बकरी कुछ भी रख लो, एक पेट होना चाहिए आपके पास, जनरली डॉग रखते हैं, बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग वन डबल इनकम, नो किड्स, ओनली पेट. So that's the new demography, and we have to address that with the urbanization which we are seeing. The nuclear society, nuclear family has to be addressed because such activity do impacts the sustainability of a company operation. Is it clear, everyone? The first learning outcome and how to address it, what to learn. Any doubt here?
No, it's clear.
Second, key social mega trends which are impacting our business operation, right? Here we need to make sure that we understand those mega trends, its influence, how it is influencing the social change in terms of potential impact on the company's operation and the social practices itself, which are changing. Climate change and transition also is impacting social mega trends. So we need to understand that if there is a highly humid climate, lot of flash floods are coming. Yeah, temperature is rising. How people are going to accommodate themselves? Do they need air conditioner? Do they need a different kind of work culture? Yeah, etc., etc. Along with water scarcity, pollution, mass migration, and geopolitical conflict. Right? Earlier, even we didn't had a law that we can engage a foreigner in our country as an employee. Right? Chinese used to come here, and they suddenly government used to change its policy, and those Chinese need to leave the country because they were expatriate working in our country. We don't have real policy to engage expatriates like migrating or countries like Canada, US, Middle East, they have for the expatriates. We don't have. This year only, Government of India has realized and changed its policy. Why? Because geopolitical changes are happening. India is becoming a bright spot where foreigner wants to come and work. You won't believe, means the foreigners on Bangalore road has increased at least 3 times. We do not find them only in winter season. They used to come, they used to love. Now most of the company GCC, the global capacity center company CEOs, are foreigners. They are coming, living here, enjoying the environment and working with the Indian employees. So that's a key social mega trend, and we need to understand such mega trend and include in our policy and practices. Then comes the key social concept, which is another learning outcome. Those concepts you should be able to explain. For example, human capital, right? We have learned that in our managements, in our graduation, product liability and consumer protection. Now, product liability in India is not that much, but you go to US, even a lawn mower have. Okay.
But that, sir, they have given the case study of COVID-19,
Correct. In
but
this, it is
side
there.
effects are not discussed in that actually. Very high.
Sorry?
COVID-19 case study is given here, and
Right.
what is the impact in poorer country will not have this technology or access to this. But the side effects of COVID-19 vaccine, they have not discussed in detail.
Because that is not been established, right? This is the case study you are talking about, the impact.
Yeah.
Because of course, but problem is, look, we can only talk about the things which has been established. You remember when the vaccine came, it took at least 6 months. There were few companies which were developing before even COVID hit them, because it keeps on coming, right? उससे पहले अफ्रीका में आया हुआ था कोई फ्लू, सो उससे रिलेटेड इबोला was there, another African country based virus. So company used to prepare, like Pfizer has it, but Pfizer was totally ineffective. मतलब 60% अगर effectiveness है तो that that effectiveness is none of the less even should be considered to given to the human people. They gave because we were in such situation that we wanted somebody to come with the vaccine and immediately get out of it. Because virus itself is a new phenomena, right? It's a new concept. And after 70, 80 year it came, people have forgotten how to deal with it. नहीं तो पहले means I used to hear at my father's time and again in his beginning of his life, they used to get this kala jar and plague. Plague was there at my father's time. He has seen one plague episode in his lifetime.
So they raised query about the cost of vaccine also and why they should not give it. Lot of government has given them lot of what you can say subsidiary for developing vaccine, and why you are charging high. All those their institutional shareholders have also raised those queries.
Absolutely. And that comes
If-
into the product liability and consumer protection. You are
Yeah, that's why when you told product liability that.
no, makes sense. So I'm just giving you a simple example of US. Imagine a person. Achha, how many of you know your kids must be living there or some family member that if you do not put your dust, sorry, क्या बोलते हैं उसको? If you do not put your solid waste in the dustbin outside, you will be penalized for it in US. Or if you do not maul your lawns, yeah, अगर आप नहीं कर रहे हैं कटाई लॉन की एंड वो भी जाके आप डस्टबिन बाहर में नहीं डाल रहे हो एंड वो मिस कर गया आपका बस, तो यू विल बी पेनलाइज फॉर इट एंड इट्स अ मैसिव पेनल्टी। हाँ, जितनी आपकी उस डे की इनकम नहीं उतना आपको पे करना है द कलेक्टर को। So that is how it works. So वहां पे product liability है कि you are doing say you are moving your lawn mower and cutting the grass, and there is a stone which got stuck in the rotator and it hits the next plot, kid playing there. You will be responsible for that death or injury. And you have to pay massive amount of it. If that guy goes to court, automatically it goes to a court case. You are doing your lawn cleaning. You are not, conscious about people are playing next to your plot. Yeah. And you have to face that product liability. So वहां पे कवरेज लेना पड़ता है आपको प्रोडक्ट लाइबिलिटी का, इवन द नॉर्मल पीपल इन नॉर्मल हाउसेस। यहाँ हम अपना घर का फायर प्रोटेक्शन नहीं कराते हैं। हाउ मेनी ऑफ अस हैव डन द फायर प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ आवर हाउस? आई हैव नॉट डन, अनफॉर्चुनेटली। How many of us? Let me see that we have 8 people, 7 people, right? How many of us has done fire protection?
You have not done, but there is suppose some you fry something and fire alarm starts, and then when police or fire
Since
brigade
I am
comes,
from
then
that industry, I
if it is
have
a
it.
wrong, it is a wrong call, you have to
Good.
pay the charges.
Good. I agree with you, Subodhji, and thank you. At least one person, Bhaskar ji, is having. Rajni ji, do you have it?
No, sir. I don't have.
नहीं कराते हैं हम लोग।
Till the time I had loan, which paid off.
लोन में रहता है, by the way, लोन में
No, sir. When
बैंक
I
वाला
had a
कर देता
house
है।
in Bombay long back in 2002,
हम्म।
and I had a Standard Chartered loan, they have forced us to take all those things because the Standard Chartered bank
तो
was
उनका
there.
mortgage है ना, that's their
Yeah,
mortgage.
mortgage.
So they will
So they
put,
have forced us to take for 10 years.
correct. वो
2002.
बिल्ड कर देते हैं, means they will not ask you separately. It's a part of your.
No. Along with your this, it comes in and your premium is charged in your installment automatically.
Absolutely. So this is how it works. But here,
Because it was a Standard Chartered bank, not Indian bank.
so normally we do not do. That's what I'm trying to establish. But somebody in our group is doing, so I'm happy. Anchika, have in your in UK? Do you have product liability insurance?
सर कंपनी में होता है
Okay,
पर पर्सनल उसमें नहीं है,
as
और कंपनी में
individual.
तो मैंडेटरी है।
Company में
दे
yeah.
कांट डू बिजनेस विदाउट शोइंग इंश्योरेंस फॉर ऑल ऑफ दिस।
And that is here also. That is here also.
वो
Yeah,
तो
but I मतलब because I'm a tenant here, so I don't think there's anything that I have.
अच्छा
Probably landlord
tenancy
का
में
कुछ
नहीं।
होता होगा।
Correct. Tenancy में means you are not doing for your own self, so you might be escape. You might escape. So point here is these are the social concepts which we have to learn: health and nutrition, how to value it, how to report about it, how to do something about in your company so it becomes an initiative under ESG initiative. Then comes the material impact on the investment. So when we are doing investment, what all social factor we should be considering? So we have to understand, first of all, materiality, right? Through the social issues, and understand that what kind of impact this may have on my investment. Can this company or the company where I have invested will close because of this event? The danger of overlooking them. What is the probability and what is the danger? We need to know that, including
The
the
last company I worked, there was a fire insurance, but those plants have come one after another. So we have separate fire network in each individual plant areas. So when they have audited total, they told that you cannot have so much network. You have to have one network total covering total plant.
Absolutely.
You cannot have subsections because
Subset.
if something goes wrong, we will not know.
Yeah,
So
because
we have to spend the 30 crores we have to spend to make one network.
I agree with you. Totally agree with you. That is why we need to learn such topics and understand it in detail. This chapter teaches you. Please read that. Then comes the right, individual rights and responsibility. What right person carries who comes to your company? If in fire his laptops gets burned off, not the company one, will you be liable to pay, etc. Family structure and role, what they are playing behind, how the family or the family becoming nuclear is impacting a company operation. Education and work, is it related or not? Is the guys getting skilled up? If yes, how company is getting influence from it? Faith based ESG investing as well need to be considered because it has a massive social factor inside it. Yeah, exercise of religion, inequality and globalizations are the other area. Then comes approaches to social analysis. Yes, Bhaskar you are saying something?
No, no. I
Okay.
just
So
coughing.
other is approaches to analysis, which is identifying different approaches to social analysis. Again, the same pyramid structure, the in vertical and vertical, which is starting from country, sector, company. Like country as India has a cultural aspect to it. So we do Bhagwan or God, right? Ka puja. And you know the Bhagwan ka all four, five Bhutatva, we say, right? Bhumi. Uh, how many of you recall that? Bhagwan ka definition? So that is what at company analysis, at not by defining Bhagwan ka definition, but you have to understand that India as a cultural aspect of India need to be understood when you are doing the social analysis. And then you have to go to those sector where the companies are operating. Like in Maharashtra, company operating requires a proper social structure because the fabric comes from Mumbai, right? The work culture comes from Mumbai, where the union were the major ones, right? Now, even though you are in Maharashtra, you need to be careful about it. That's what the point is. When you go to Kerala, the communist influence is huge. So, how to take care of that? So, sector is specific, region is specific, country is specific. Parameter need to be understood from the social analysis point of view. Then comes application of those analysis, right? So, in application, of course, material social factor, their risk, what are different risk are, and how what kind of quality of management you can deploy there, along with how these factors impacts your ratio analysis and financial model. That's the last part of understanding. Now, as you can understand by looking into the social factor, following 5 mechanism you have to learn. This is the introductory part where social factors are increasingly relevant now. They are relevant to both businesses and investment perspective. Okay, so running business also require you to understand the social fabric, as well as if you are planning to start a new company, you need to be careful. Investors are definitely checking that whether your company is pro-social or not. In investment analysis and decision, this becomes a critical area. Then companies are expected to manage social issue by best in class. Use this word. This is a critical word, right? Best in class approach relevant to this particular sector, which is health and safety. For example, health and safety need to be managed in any company in order to become socially responsible in that company, right? That is why it is being said that EHS to ESG is the best proposition people should have. So people coming from the EHS background, they can pick up ESG very fast and very easily. Why? Because they are already covering the S part in detail. Then comes the social issue, which can become focus of investable opportunity. So if a company who doesn't have health and safety, you will be looking as a alpha in that company. Why? Because there is additional growth which can be possible the moment you deploy HSE, because you know HSE saves so much money, so much efficiency, it brings so much satisfaction, etc., etc. Right? So that becomes opportunity for you. Or there is a gender equality is not there in the companies. That also can become opportunity if you will increase or bring the women and men on the same equal pay background, right? In that case, automatically the efficiency, satisfaction, contribution by the women increases exponentially, which might impact your company operation and productivity. And that is why companies are increasingly now expected to engage their stakeholders, including employee, openly, transparently, and responsibly. These three words, remember. So two keywords I have told you. Health and safety is one, which is best in class approach. Whenever you will use best in class approach, one of the method is health and safety. And second, that you are engaging social factors by engaging stakeholders openly, transparently, and responsively. Yeah, these are the three keywords there. If you will see, there are some case study which we will cover it in the next session. We will have one more session which will be in between session where we will have the case study and question answer. Okay, so we will bring some 30-40 question on the total social, and let's attempt it together. So social megatrends covers following four aspect, which is globalization. Of course, there are 8 aspects listed there in the books. We will cover 4 today, which is starts with globalization, how globalization is impacting the social factor, which is basically the ILO, OECD frameworks, right? In each country now it is more, ESRS, right, etc. are more relevant. People wants that your company social fabric should be of international level. Human rights need to be taken care of. So how the globalization is impacting is a social mega trend right now, where you can catch as an opportunity and also it has a risk. Both side it has. Second is automation and AI. Automation and AI definitely threatens your employee job structure, but you need different kind of employee to make it automated and AI. And also still you need people to work to control and understand the AI operation, right? Initially, at least for next 5 years. Then comes the economic inequality, which we have said, rich and poor divide. And the final is digital disruptions. Tell me, Subodhji.
This automation, I'll just one line only.
Yeah.
Automation may not be only for reduction of manpower, it is for the safety purpose mainly. So automation here is that you take care of safety of people and surrounding and social factor.
Correct. Absolutely correct. You have detailed it. Thank you. Now, in globalization, we will be covering following 3 points. First, that globalization is all about integration of economies, right? There is a Ricardo theory, very famous Ricardo theory, which Trump has totally ignored. Like he has ignored sustainability theory, he has also ignored theory of comparable advantages of country. Every country will have their its own comparable advantage compared to other company producing that product has been ignored by Trump theory of tariff war, right? So that is defying now in 2025 to the whatever we have learned in last 40-50 years after WTO came, after not 30-40 years, but 80 years after 1945, 1947, WTO came in play, right? So right now we are defying in 2025, but as per CFA curricula, it is saying that integration of economy first you have to understand. Integration of what? Integration of local economy, which we see from the cooperative. Have you seen cooperative and their operations? Like cooperative bank होता है, cooperative agriculture, cooperative society होती है, right? जहाँ wholesale पे सब कुछ farmer आके they will put it there, the wholesaler will take buy from them, so they will have a guarantee they will not go without any customer. Now wholesalers sell it at a different pricing, right? That's how the agri market works, right? That is a kind of local economy. Now comes national economy. National economy means We export, like when we started the session, few of our participants were saying we export services to US, right? That might have an impact because anyway he's stretching the student visa. You cannot. Students are not coming to India now in the holiday season or the marriages to attend marriages. The reason is they do not know if they will try to go back. Trump government will say your visa is no longer relevant because you have gone to India, you are not a American student. So people are not coming this time. You will hear that story very soon whenever you will go and attend these marriages. You will find this is happening. This is a reality. And that is the
But
international market reality, right?
in
Yeah.
trade minutes, I don't know whether I have heard correctly or not. Because of the tariff hike, India has started exporting a lot of things to the African countries. And from there, it will go to US. Because that the tariff is not increased much.
Look, people will find ways, but point here is
So
that
now our government has already had a
no,
last
but
week
don't
only.
trust. Don't trust. Those are gray markets, right? He will come and penalize you separately.
No, our government has organized some African countries to India, invited to India, and they started trading. Last week, my brother has gone there, sir.
Yeah,
Cousin has
people
gone.
look
But
like
he is
Taiwan,
having
Chinese,
Kenya. So
Chinese.
he has come from the Kenya for on behalf of African.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Kenya, Oman, all these countries which has a FTA or
So
is.
they have visited here and they are now trying to import from India there. And
I
ultimately they
agree.
will export from there
Truly,
to
truly,
US.
it might be happening, but point here is that don't ignore Trump. Okay, Trump is the guy whose ego is first. So be careful about his ego. If he will know, he has not left Russia. Look, people say he's a friend of Putin, he's a friend of Modi, but he is a businessman. You have to understand, businessmen are not friend of anyone. Okay, they are friend to the extent which they can accommodate. Right, the moment it comes to priority and their relevance,
Still our duties are tariffs are lower than other China's and other countries.
course, that is the point that in the long term you will become a better economy and
Right.
just wait for time. People are saying by May itself you will see some world war kind of event will start. Astrologically also people are predicting and scientifically also people are predicting. So you
And then
never
there is something else also. I will forward the
inflation.
one
See
case study
inflation.
that it is he wants that economy should go down.
No,
I will forward that case.
nobody wants
Wants economy to go down.
nobody wants. That is the problem, Rajniji. And even though they want it for deep state or for Palestine or for Israel, all that controversial stuff, even though they want, can they say that in public forum? They can't.
No, they cannot say, but the
They
logic
cannot
is
say,
given.
right? So point here
Whether
is
it is
then,
correct or not is a different thing. I will forward that case study.
yeah, of
I have
course.
got that case study.
Of course, no, there are several case study and there are several news articles on this topic. But point here is we have to trust whatever is the official media. Whatever is unofficial media, we can't trust it.
Yeah, obvious.
And those media is also saying this will fire back to him. The reason is who will be at a loss? The American consumer will be at a
Yes,
loss.
consumers are going to be at loss.
Who was going to Walmart, Rajniji? You think Indians were only going to the Walmart and buying those cheap products, Chinese products? Let's be honest about
The
it.
economy is going to be hit and the consumer will pay the price.
50%,
Beat US, beat India.
they are thinking that they are getting high salary so they can afford. Boss, you don't know American means he knows, but I don't know why he's behaving. 20% Janta is there also below poverty line. You will find those people who are really poor there. Those things are not in limelight, so we do not know. Here we have 60% people who are below poverty line. There 20% people. But everywhere there is a people who are without food, going without all three time meals, right? If that is the case, those people, can they buy anything in their life then? Yeah. And you expect Americans to have certain kind, at least certain kind. कि weed करना जरूरी है, alcohol लेना जरूरी है, beer होना जरूरी है. All that is expected, even though he is the cheapest guy. He has no money in his pocket, but he will try to maintain that. Right? हमारे यहाँ भी है ना, विलेज में होते हैं दो चार आवारा जो पैसे नहीं है घर में, but they will go and drink every day in night. सब कोई करता है drink, but I'm saying that those people who doesn't have money, they drink more than you. And how they are doing it? By taking loan, that by doing all the nasty stuff. Everywhere it is. So it will hit them, Subodhji. So let's not discuss about it. Just wait and watch. Yeah, everybody
Too
has.
early to comment actually, sir. What
Sorry?
you say is correct. What you say is correct. That we should wait and watch.
We should wait and watch.
It's going to take
By
some
the way,
time.
India mein,
Countries are going to retaliate. How they are going to retaliate? How the negotiation is going
uh,
to happen? Whether it is going to be political push or he is going to meet his interest. We need to be little watchful the way India is waiting and not commenting upon.
नहीं कमेंट कर रहा है उसका रीजन है दे आर वेटिंग फॉर देयर बीटीएस there is a
Yes.
bilateral trade agreement which is about to get signed which didn't happen right now there must be some internal discussion right US trade minister was here just before this announcement he was here for 5 days in Delhi he was sitting with Piyush ji all people right they deliberated discussed and then they penalized 54% which is a shocker to India but people have not responded accordingly. You will see in our Indian media. And the reason is BTS. Everybody is waiting for that bilateral trade agreement where we will say, okay, zero. Already all industries are talking about it. हमको नहीं
Yes.
चाहिए tax.
No giving, no taking. Yes.
हाँ, so पैसे कमाना है जीएसटी से कमाओ ना भाई 18 का 25 कर दो क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है लेकिन डोंट डू दैट दैट्स द पॉइंट एंड इफ यू सी अमेरिकन्स आर नॉट सेइंग रॉन्ग आपके कंट्री में आके टेस्ला की कार 200% कॉस्टली है अरे जिसकी औकात है वही बाई कर रहा है ना और वो नहीं बाई कर रहा है वो लोग मर्सिडीज बाई कर रहा है वो लोग वॉल्क्सवैगन बाई कर रहा है so instead of letting them buy those products let them buy American product how government is losing I don't understand right so government has another element to it they wanted to say that let rich gets penalized that was the method for the rich getting penalized by putting 100% tariff on Lamborghini and Tesla and etc. Now that's what any country wants to protect their industry interest. Coming back to this is the topic of globalization. So we have gone little further more to globalization, but point here is that increased cross-border movement of goods, services, technology, people, and capital impacts the social fabric of each country who are connected together. And that is why Ricardo comparative advantage theory always remember which sets your purchase power priority ठीक है ये याद रखिएगा इकोनॉमिक्स की बहुत अच्छी थियरी है हम लोग उसमें नहीं जाएंगे कीनियंस है यू मस्ट बी नोइंग सम ऑफ दोज राइट कीनियंस नियो क्लासिकल थियरी एक्सेट्रा उसमें एक सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है जो नहीं पढ़ाया जाता है स्कूल में पढ़ाना चाहिए बच्चों को और वो है रिकार्डो की comparative advantage theory okay so that is how you set up a global integration national integration which of course is new theory has come which is American theory now can this lead to offshoring a dependency or not is what you decide from the comparative advantage just to give you a little bit more so you remember it is that you decide a country like India है और China है चाइना एक प्रोडक्ट बना रही है फॉर एग्जांपल आईफोन बना रही है ओके और इंडिया को भी आईफोन बनाना है बट अमेरिका उसी से बाई करेगा जिससे उसको इकोनॉमिकली फायदा मिलेगा ज्यादा करेक्ट तो लेबर कहाँ कम है लेबर के चार्जेस लैंड के चार्जेस सारे काउंट होते हैं और उसके बाद डिसीजन होता है कि ट्रांसपोर्ट होकर अमेरिका पहुंचने में इंडिया से कितना पैसा लगेगा और चाइना से कितना पैसा लगेगा उसके बाद उसको एक अनदर चीज से वे किया जाता है दैट इज योर सप्लाई चेन कि अगर मैंने केवल चाइना से लिया जो पिछली बार हमने देख लिया उसका लाइव एग्जांपल देखा कोरोना के बाद राइट चाइना हैज डिस्टरप्टेड द होल वर्ल्ड सप्लाई चेन उसके बाद यमन एंड सोमालिया का वॉर हैज स्टॉप दैट रूट ईरान एंड ईरान का वॉर also has stopped challenge that Strait of Hormuz route which are supply chain problems so this with comparative advantage creates a situation where any company or country can create an advantage for themselves second is automation and artificial intelligence so globalization में integration of economy समझ लीजिए read little bit about more about it increase international trade which has happened in past now it looks like a things of past going forward it will be challenged and then you will have implication you have to understand how these two things impacts the businesses yeah which country will become bigger in which industry gets decided here, right? जैसे China was known for manufacturing. Can India be known for manufacturing? Possibly yes. क्योंकि सर्विस आपका मार खाने वाला है जो आपने लाइफ टाइम किया है, राइट? कोडिंग जाने वाली है, ट्रस्ट मी। दिस एआई ऑटोमेशन का भी बात करूंगा। कोडर्स फॉर विच वी आर नोन फॉर लास्ट 40 years, दैट इंडस्ट्री बीन चैलेंज डीपली बिकॉज यू दे डोंट नीड टॉप 100 फ्रॉम इंडिया कि आईआईटी में आओ, रिक्रूट करके लेके जाओ, उनको पैसे दो 50 करोड़, एंड दे विल लव टू बी देयर इन अमेरिका फॉर एवर। Yeah, that is how all our CEOs are coming, large company CEOs are coming from India and settled in America. They are Americans. Okay, Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, they are working for America. Okay, so but point here is how this is happening. This is happening through brain drain, right? So brain drain is a policy which will be challenged because of automation and AI intelligence, artificial intelligence. Because now the top 100 coder right now as we speak is AI. They are competing neck to neck. O3 level है, एक सॉफ्टवेयर है O3. Okay, we are right now, by the way, we are on O level. 4O चल रहा है, right? So that is how O level पे हम लोग हैं जो हम यूज कर रहे हैं पब्लिक डोमेन में. बट कंपनीज आर यूजिंग, जैसे चैट जीपीटी का 3 है, 4 है वर्जन, राइट? सो आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द वर्जन फॉर कोडिंग. या, सो दैट इज द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक विच इज एआई, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एंड ऑटोमेशन. उसमें सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज आ रहा है कि O3 लेवल है, इट इज एबल टू कोड विदाउट ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन to the extent where the top 100 coders of worlds cannot compete. So they are right now in top 100. इसीलिए अभी भी इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि एआई ही सारा काम करेगा. उसको केवल आपको बोल देना है एंड ही इज एबल टू कोड इट. वो खुद कोड करेगा, टेस्ट करेगा, डिप्लॉय करेगा, एक्टिवेट कर देगा. जो हम लोग साईफाई मूवी में बोलते हैं वो पॉसिबल है आज के डेट में, राइट? आपको प्रॉब्लम है, वो खुद कॉल करेगा हॉस्पिटल, वहां से एम्बुलेंस भेजेगा, आपको लोड कराएगा, ऑब्जर्व करेगा कि आप प्रॉपर लोड हुए, आपका सारा बैरोमेट्रिक टेस्ट होते रहेगा. इट विल इन्फॉर्म ऑल योर रिलेटिव्स ऑटोमेटिकली. जैसा एप्पल वॉच के बारे में आपने सुना होगा कि अगर आप, इफ यू फॉल डाउन, एप्पल वॉच इन्फॉर्म्स टू योर, हैज सेव्ड सेवरल लाइफ इफ पीपल आर गेटिंग हार्ट अटैक एक्सेट्रा, right? It automatically communicates to emergency line, hospital, etc. But now with advent of AI, that process also has automized, and that's a massive change. One part which Subodhji was talking is also automation, but real automation is this, that आप जो सोच रहे हो, आपका मशीन ऑलरेडी सोच के वो काम कर देगा. जो एलेक्सा, गूगल, आपका टीवी. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू नो टुडे, which was a conspiracy in past, that only CIA can do, that when you watch a TV, right, actually TV watches you back, and you can always claim, no no, मेरा तो टीवी वेस्टर्न वाला, ओल्ड वाला है, ओनिडा है, इसमें कैमरा कहाँ है? वो कैमरा, वो पिक्सल एक्ट करते हैं. टुडे इन न्यूज़पेपर, दैट्स द न्यूज़. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव सीन that your Wi-Fi is actually can see next to your house who is sitting, who is walking, who is playing. MIT में अभी रिसर्च होके बाहर आया है, right? So this conspiracy point यह है कि automation and AI will challenge your current social fabric, normal businesses, and that challenge creates an opportunity for an investor or a company to consider it as a part of it. You won't believe, in Bangalore there was a survey done on some frontline companies. Growth School, how many of you have heard about it? One of EdTech company based out of here. 65% of those people have already started using AI for coding. 65%. आप समझ रहे हो? 1,20,000 लोगों को फायर किया जा चुका है इस साल में, सिंस जनवरी टिल डेट. कितना? 1,20,000. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज कमिटेड एवरी ईयर आई विल गिव 2 करोड़ पीपल न्यू जॉब्स. जॉब जा रहे हो, उसका क्या? पकौड़े बेचना ही नहीं जॉब है ना. एक ही जॉब थोड़ी करते रहेंगे सारे लोग. सारा अपना अपना लेवल है ना. अब सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर को आप बोलोगे पकौड़े बेचने के लिए, तो कितने में वो बेच पाएंगे? फिर पीयूष गोयल जी को हैज टू गो इन प्रगति मैदान एंड साउट अबाउट इट. व्हाई ही वाज साउटिंग? आई डिडंट अंडरस्टूड. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव वॉच्ड दैट एपिसोड? A government is lamenting startups in a startup event, startup Mahakumbh, about this, which became actually some people were really shy about it. However, he was encouraging people कि boss, look at China. China is doing only good jobs, right? ग्रॉक ये क्या बोलते हैं, डीप सीक लाया, ये लाया, वो लाया, और हम लोग पकौड़े बनाने वाली कंपनी ला रहे हैं। हम लोग भूल जाते हैं 20 साल पहले, 10 साल पहले हमने बोला ही था कि हम पकौड़े बनाने वाले को इनकरेज करेंगे। तो वो अब लाइन सेट हो गया। अब आगे बात करिए आप, इंडिया को चैलेंज दीजिए, और इंडिया आगे नहीं आती आप बोलिए। आप चैलेंज ही दिए थे कि आप पकौड़े बनाओ, हमने पकौड़े बनाए, बेचे, और काफी लोग उसमें बिग बॉस में गए, राइट? सो माय पॉइंट हियर इज कि वी नीड टू बी अंडरस्टैंडिंग द डिसरप्शन टेक्नोलॉजी ब्रिंग्स, एंड आर वी रेडी टू टेक अप दैट चैलेंज? Is our government is giving as much subsidy and loan and equity what China is giving? Up now you will say no, that is a dictatorship country, communist country, so they can give any number of any amount of money to their startup. What about us? Because we are a democracy, we will not get any government fund, or only people who are the son of large businessmen will get fund. Those kind of challenges need to be addressed as a social fabric, and then only company will be established. And there is an advantage of this and there is a disadvantage of both, which I have explained you just now, right? But my point is here government intervention is required. Like we brought in recently in India, one best development has happened after 50-60 years is changing of our manpower laws. How many of you are aware about that labor law has been changed drastically in favor of businesses? Of course, we are considering employee and their rights has not been compromised, but it has been made shackle free, at least, of course.
Ease of
But they
doing
are not
business.
come into
Ease of business. क्या बोल रहे हैं सुबोध जी? Sorry.
Sir, it is not become effective, sir.
दैट्स अ डिफरेंट डिस्कशन। अरे हमारा एक्सक्यूशन तो हमारा एक्सक्यूशन है, राइट? हम लोग थोड़ा हाथी हैं, हम आप भूल जाते हो, आप हमारा हाथी का डांसिंग भूल जाते हो, राइट? हम हाथी है ना, ड्रैगन नहीं है, हम तुरंत चेंज नहीं करेंगे। लेकिन हम आप हमको चैलेंज दो, 10 साल में हमने बता दिया। आप ही का एम्प्लॉय आके बोला महाकुंभ में बैठ के कि हम लोग पकौड़े बनाने वाले कंट्री हो गए, राइट? तो आप चैलेंज तो दो। तो अभी आया है मैन पावर का लॉ, एक अच्छी चीज हुई है, डिप्लॉय करने में टाइम लगेगा ना, पुराने लोग को आप हटा नहीं सकते हो ना वहां पे। तो जो आईएएस आईपीएस रजनी जी यहाँ पे बैठी हुई है, वो जो है उनको चेंज होना पड़ेगा ना। वो लॉ लाने से वो चेंज हो जाएंगे ऐसी गारंटी नहीं है, उनको भी समझना पड़ेगा, उनको इसकी इंपॉर्टेंस देखनी पड़ेगी। और आपको लगता है कि लेबर लॉ गंदा है, खराब है हमारी कंट्री का, बट वो नहीं रहता तब की सिचुएशन आप सोचिए। डेली दंगे फसाद हो रहे थे मुंबई में। इफ यू नो द स्टोरी ऑफ टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री, हाउ
Yes,
इट्स
yes.
डेथ, राइट? एंड इट वाज, उस समय भी लॉ था, राइट? तो उस समय कौन सा आपके पास लॉ एंड ऑर्डर ने वर्क किया था? यही लॉ एंड ऑर्डर वर्क कर रहा था उस समय। हाँ, there are gaps, there are generational changes, and according to that, law should change. Now, law has changed, we need to change, and that you and me, Subodhji, has to change. Yeah, it is our responsibility to go and educate them. What is the benefit? What is the disadvantage of these particular aspect and how it works? यहाँ पे एक case study है transportation industry का, which we will discuss to next class and talk about it. The third part was economic inequality. Now, economic inequality, if you see, it is all about growing income inequality, and they have referred a report called OECD ka report, and where it has been suggested very clearly that current situation of this of divide of this poor and rich, which is growing, affects the economy by reducing not only opportunity for rich but also opportunity for poor. Okay, and that relationship need to be understood, and that is why the driver of inequality through OECD references look into that, and then how it impacts the economies and societies has to be understood and taken care of. And here the corporate tax strategy works, right? Tax the rich, distribute it to poor. Again, there is a good development there that up to 12 lakh there is no tax in India. A lot of people are going to get benefited by that. So that way also you can reduce the divide. So those are the ways how you can reduce the divide. Now, this you have to understand to deploy in your company. ऐसा नहीं कि directly impact कर रहा है, but indirectly it impacts. Then comes the digital disruption, which we have discussed even in AI and ML के केस में. Here, few examples are mentioned in the book related to disruption which is happening because of technology, specifically IoT based operation, robotics based operation, dark. There is by the way, there is a blog which has been published on dark factories. Have you read? Anybody has read this? Raviji, have you read? He comments on all the blogs. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah, I think it
You read it, right?
started in China. Yeah.
Yes. Japan was the actual inventor, but
So
China.
I think entire robotics.
करेक्ट करेक्ट एब्सोल्युटली. सो हाउ दैट डिस्टर्ब्स आवर सोशल, क्योंकि वो आ जाएगा तो एम्प्लॉय की जरूरत तो है ही नहीं ना. ऑफिस में लाइट ही नहीं रखना है क्योंकि एम्प्लॉय है ही नहीं. वो सब दे आर IoT बेस्ड रोबोट्स, दे कैन वर्क विदाउट इवन any lights. So that's a good blog. We will post it for your reading. Have a read on it. That showcase that how technology can disrupt a company and the social fabric together, right? And what kind of opportunity it creates and what kind of risk it creates for an investor who is investing in such kind of companies. And here the big data, machine learning, and privacy concern plays a huge role, राइट, बिकॉज इट प्लेज विद द ह्यूमन डेटा, राइट. वो हमारे से ही लड़ करके उस मशीन में डाल रहा है ना कि हम कैसे काम करते हैं, हाउ आई डू असेंबली, सेम थिंग मशीन इज लर्निंग एंड डिप्लॉइंग इट विदाउट मी. सो मेरा डेटा लेके मेरे को ही बाहर कर रहा है जॉब से, तो इट इज नॉट फेयर, राइट. दैट्स द फेयरनेस गेम वी टॉक हियर एंड हाउ इट वर्क्स. Then comes additional mega trend which are impacting our operation. And first one is change to work-life balance, which we have discussed in past as well. Along with changes to workforce and family, the family, how the nuclear families are happening, are the families are ready to move different location as the company grow, etc., need to be considered. Then coming comes the changing demographic, the generational shift which happens, right? So population is growing. We have very young, population, but we are also expanding very fastly in top strata, and there is no social security for those guys. या पेंशन उनके लिए, मतलब हमारे जनरेशन के जस्ट पहले वाले जनरेशन में पेंशन लगभग हट गया था. सो दे डोंट हैव पेंशन, दे डू नॉट फॉल इन सोशल सिक्योरिटी, एंड करंट सोशल सिक्योरिटी डजंट सपोर्ट देम इनफ. आयुष्मान भारत 5 लाख रुपए देता है, राइट. आप मेरे को एक ओल्ड एज का बीमारी बता दो जिसमें 5 लाख का आपका इलाज फोर्टिस में हो जाएगा. एक बता दो.
नहीं होगा सर.
आप तो दिल्ली में हो, आपको तो पूरा मालूम है.
नहीं नहीं, 40s में वैसे भी नहीं होगा. किसी भी 40s से नीचे वाली स्टेटा में भी नहीं होगा. अगर कोई मान लीजिए किसी को स्ट्रोक आ जाता है, 7-8 लाख रुपए सीधा निकल जाता है.
सीधे निकल जाते हो. क्या आयुष्मान भारत वहां आपको सपोर्ट करेगा? सो दैट्स द
पर
चैलेंज.
भारत को एनकैश करना, सबका कार्ड बनाना, वो सब
और वो इतने उसमें पेंच है कि 5 लाख आपको मिलेंगे तो 3 लाख आपको देना है किसी को फर्स्ट टाइम वाले में, राइट.
हम्म,
2 लाख तो मिनिमम देना है, और 3 लाख भी हॉस्पिटल बिना बात के ले लेगी, और फिर भी 7 लाख का बिल आपके ऊपर चिपकाएगी उसको, उस आदमी को.
करंट अपना ही लेना पड़ेगा आपको.
That's the problem. So that changing demographic do not see only as a positive कि demographic dividend मिलने वाला है. हमारे पास बहुत youth crowd है. हमारे पास slowly we are not in the age of Japan, Greece, etc. or UK, but still that number is growing. And please understand, our numbers are much larger than the Japan and Europe. हमारा नंबर बहुत है ना. हम बोलेंगे 20% जनता हमारे यहाँ 60 के ऊपर है, बट वो 20% का नंबर आपको मालूम है? 20% मल्टीप्लाई बाय 1.4 बिलियंस. दैट इज द डिफरेंस. कहां से आएगी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया फंड उनके लिए?
which is higher than the population of US.
दैट्स द पॉइंट. 33 मिलियन के आसपास है, 330 मिलियन है, राइट. उतना तो हमारा केवल एक एज के पॉपुलेशन के लोग हैं. दैट्स द चैलेंज वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड see when we are giving them the job, so that they have that NPS system working for them, PF system working for them, so that their lifestyle remains intact. So the son and the kids who are living the independence life or dink life or double income and one pet life, whatever life they are living, they are able to live it properly. कि नहीं तो फोर वो स्ट्रेस में आएगा ना, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन का एम्प्लॉय इन टाटा विल बी इन स्ट्रेस, करेक्ट ना, क्योंकि उसके फादर मदर का सिक्योर्ड नहीं है लाइफ, उसको उनको लेके चलना है। तो दैट चैलेंज वी एज ए कंपनी, एज ए टाटा नीड टू बी थिंक। टाटा सोचती है इसके बारे में, आप मानोगे नहीं, ये सोचती है ये सब छोटी छोटी बातों के बारे में। काफी कंपनियां इंडिया में हैं जो लॉन्ग टर्म से चल रही हैं, दे थिंक अबाउट दिस, कि हाउ टू मेक श्योर दैट प्रीवियस जनरेशन एम्प्लॉयज आर कंटेंडेड, उनको कंपनी चालू करा के देते हैं, एंड देन दे टेक द न्यू जनरेशन। या डायरेक्ट लिंक नहीं होती है कंपनीज में, बट आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू दिस इज हाउ कंपनी शुड थिंक व्हेन दे डिजाइन देयर सोशल फैक्टर and employ it. Along with urbanization, you know the urbanization problem in India is massive. We wanted to have smart cities, but the overload on each city is so much that Indore could not sustain it. Indore being the smartest city of India could not sustain it. They could not attract large company yet. आप बताओ कौन सी कंपनी बड़ी वाली जाके वहां बहुत बड़ा धमाका की है और बड़ा कंपनी खोल के 10,000 लोगों को डिप्लॉय किए, नहीं किए। मैसूर में जाके आप चेक कर लो, मैं तो कर्नाटका में हूँ, अभी भी लोग चाहते हैं कि मैसूर के आसपास ही काम करें, मैसूर सॉरी बैंगलोर के आसपास ही रह के काम करें रादर देन गो टू मैसूर।
मैसूर
एक,
चैलेंज है।
सॉरी,
मैसूर चैलेंज है सर। हमारा
एक
कॉल
चैलेंज
सेंटर
नहीं है,
बना था मैसूर में।
लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड इज गुड, इट्स हार्डली 2 hours।
You get a less, need to pay less
बट
here.
वो स्टार्टअप, मतलब जो
वो
स्टार्ट,
है कॉल सेंटर टाइप जॉब्स ऐसे ही वहां पे।
हाँ वो जो करियर स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं ना वो वहां जाना चाहते हैं, जिनको अपनी फैमिली
I
रखनी है।
started my 139 from there, I recall.
Only
28.
one place where I see it has been successful is your Ghaziabad, Gurugram and Delhi patch, क्योंकि दिल्ली तो ऐसे भी एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती है ना।
एनसीआर में आ जाता है ना सर।
वो एनसीआर ही है जो सस्टेन किया एज ए सैटेलाइट सिटी एंड क्रिएटेड अ बिगर इम्पैक्ट। रेस्ट ऑफ देम आर बीइंग चैलेंज राइट नाउ एज वी स्पीक, एंड द रीजन इज अर्बनाइजेशन। ये इतना फास्ट हो रहा है कि सिटीज आर नॉट एबल टू कंट्रोल इट, और उसके बाद यू नो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, दिस गवर्नमेंट, दैट गवर्नमेंट, वो अलग फाइट है। डबल इंजन होना चाहिए, ट्रिपल इंजन होना चाहिए, काइंड ऑफ स्टफ। सो ऑल दैट इज अनदर प्ले, बट अर्बनाइजेशन इज द की प्ले, right? Whatever people talk about politics, but politics only sustain because there is a demographic challenge जो पॉलिटिशियन एक्सप्लॉइट करते हैं। अरे कुछ होना चाहिए ना एक्सप्लॉइट करने के लिए, है ही नहीं एक्सप्लॉइट करने के लिए, तो क्या ही कर लेगा, right? So this is how additional mega trends are working right now. And this, there is an example which Subodhji was talking about on COVID, which didn't go into the past vaccination impact as well, because there is no data and nobody wants to report about that data. If you are aware, there was a conspiracy there as well. A Banaras Hindu University professor has reported on it. 1,000 people जिनको वैक्सीन मिली, all of them are useless, kind of. Just search about this report. It is there in the public domain. Immediately that guy was sent into the jail. उसका PhD withdraw करना पड़ा है. Okay, so now coming back to another mega trend, which is environment mega trend, and how that impacts social factors. That relationship also you need to understand. What do you mean by that? Simple. Climate change हो रहा है या ट्रांजिशन रिस्क जो पोज कर रहा है, दोनों पे हमारे ब्लॉग्स हैं विच यू हैव रेड इट। those impacts need to be quantified, like climate change and its neighboring effect, which is transition of your economy to low carbon economy, have a social implication. What is what? Agar, say your city is becoming warmer, so for example Bangalore is becoming warmer, Ravi is from here, right? Ravi, ye bataiye, 5 year ago हाउ मच टाइम इन अ ईयर, 365 डेज होते हैं ना, कितने दिन आप एसी चलाते थे 5 year अगो? आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट 20 year के पिछले जनरेशन में क्या होता था, जस्ट 5 year अगो।
मैक्सिमम एक हफ्ता, उसके बाद बारिश शुरू।
बारिश हुई। मैं जब आया था एग्जैक्टली सेम सिचुएशन था 5 year अगो व्हेन आई लैंडेड इन दिस सिटी टू लिव। बिफोर दैट फैमिली केम, बिफोर दैट आई बॉट हाउस एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा। व्हेन आई केम लैंडेड हियर, हार्डली 1 week हमने लिविंग रूम में एसी नहीं लगाई थी दैट ईयर। जरूरत ही नहीं है एसी लगा, दिखाने के लिए थोड़ी लगाना है, केवल बेडरूम्स में थे। The moment the year I landed here, next year onwards, I required AC, and now even in winter I need AC.
Exactly.
The same case is with Pune.
Pune, same case, absolutely.
Last year I landed up. I asked my landlord to put you three-phase connection in all the rooms for
Okay.
AC. He told that there is already AC in one room. Why
अच्छा,
you need?
चाहिए ही नहीं।
Pune
हाँ,
doesn't
ठीक है,
need.
सही बात
And
है।
forget about the living room. But today I require in all the rooms and it is on all the time.
All the time. That's the change. So you are seeing this is climate change, how it is impacting the society. इसका मतलब क्या है कि बिजली बिल ज्यादा आएगा। That money who has to give? The company has to give, who wants to sustain longer. अगर वो नहीं कॉम्पनसेट करेगा तो एम्प्लॉय भाग जाएगा, वहां से हो जाएगा एनसीआर में काम करेगा। एनसीआर भी नहीं जा सकता, वहां तो डबल गर्मी है। वो हिमाचल में जाके बैठ के, हिमालय पे बैठ के काम करेगा। करेक्ट है कि नहीं है? दिस इज हाउ लाइफ इज
Yes, yes.
चेंजिंग, दैट्स व्हाई
And
किड।
secondly, the temperature, the delta between night temperature and day temperature is 15 to 20 degree.
राइट।
Night may it is 17, 18 degree, day may it is 37, 38, which was never the case in Pune.
Same everywhere, Chief. My point is this environmental change is changing our social fabric, which requires company to understand and deploy it. If they don't do, that company go to bust. Why? Because employee leave you. You don't understand the real problem. अरे झगड़ा, वो चेहरा अपनी वाइफ का देख रहा है कि नहीं सुबह शाम, वो इशू ही नहीं है। वो बैठ ही नहीं सकता घर में, क्यों? क्योंकि घर में एसी चलाएगा कि ऑफिस में चलाएगा, कौन सा बेनिफिशियल आप बताइए सुबोध जी। तो वो घर में भी नहीं चलाता, एसी में नहीं चलाता, वो बाहर कुर्ग में जाके बैठ जाता है हफ्ते के वीकेंड पे। आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू द रियल लाइफ स्टोरीज, ओके? इज आई एम
ये सब
नॉट।
ये मॉल सैटरडे संडे मॉल में घूमने चले जाते हैं 4-4 घंटा
क्यों? क्योंकि घर में
पेट्रोल
बैठ
पंप पे।
के यार क्यों गर्मी में बैठना है, और क्यों बिजली का बिल उठाना है? उससे अच्छा चलो फैमिली की आउटिंग भी होती है। एटलीस्ट वी आर रिलैक्स देयर, हैव गुड फूड, कम बैक होम रिलैक्स होके। और लेकिन हमारे एलएनटी के साहब को लगता है नहीं, वो तो घर में बैठ के बीवी का ही चेहरा देख रहा है बस, और कुछ करता नहीं है। अरे हु इज डबल एक्चुअली। बीवी का चेहरा देखने से झगड़ा भी होता है, राइट? रजनी जी, आप लोग तो एक्सपीरियंस है, करेक्ट ना? कितना देखेंगे? तो वो रियलिटी ऐसे काम नहीं करती है। रियलिटी के साथ थोड़ी आपको समझना पड़ेगा, मेंटालिटी भी जो चेंज हो रही
The culture
तो
it
बट उसने
came
कॉम्पेंसेट कर दिया ना
came
सर।
back. It came during COVID, and it worked successfully for 2 years. Now it is
है।
reverting back.
अरे भाई,
अब
उस
तो
समय तो
यूएस कंपनी और कंपनी सब जो है वर्क फ्रॉम होम को रिवर्ट करके वर्क इन ऑफिस कर रही हैं।
क्योंकि बीच में झटका लगा ना, मून लाइटिंग हो गई, ये हो गई, वो हो गई, सब झटका भी तो लगा है। पीपल हैव रियलाइज्ड कि आपको डिसिप्लिन इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू वर्क इन ऑफिस।
Yes,
एंड
you learn many things.
एंड कम्युनिटी बनती है ऑफिस में बैठने, ये कोई नहीं समझता है। ये कोई समझने को तैयार नहीं है कि आप जो ऑफिस में, क्योंकि आप घर पे फ्रेंडशिप नहीं बना सकते हो, फैमिली फ्रेंडशिप एक अलग ही डिस्कशन है, राइट? जो ऑफिस में, क्योंकि आप कितने घंटे ऑफिस में रह रहे हो, 10 घंटा तो मिनिमम आदमी रहता है। 8 घंटे का ड्यूटी है, 10 घंटा कम से कम रहता है ऑफिस में। उसके बाद भी फोन आते रहते हैं। सो आप समझो, जो बॉन्डिंग ऑफिस में बन रही है, कैन यू डू इट सिटिंग इन होम? पॉसिबल ही नहीं है।
Not at all.
और जो काम भी होता है ना, प्रोडक्टिविटी, पीपल थिंक दे आर गोइंग फॉर लॉट ऑफ सुट्टा ब्रेक, लॉट ऑफ टी ब्रेक। बॉस, वो टी ब्रेक व्हेन ही कम्स बैक, ही वर्क्स डबल। कंप्यूटर देखने से काम नहीं होता, कंप्यूटर पे काम करने से होता है, और इंडियंस को तो स्पेसिफिकली वो चाहिए। So it increases productivity. Of course, there are few people who takes benefit of it and they really don't work, etc., etc. But again, these are outliers. You cannot make outliers as a main case and debate and discuss and fight about it. So these are the climatic and social fabric which are changing and need to be understood. I have just taken one extreme. Don't only consider the examples which I have given. There are several other examples which has been discussed in our blog called Just Transition, right?
हाँ, yeah.
एक ब्लॉग है जिसमें हमने इन दोनों टॉपिक को साथ में लाके डिस्कस करा है। हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव रेड इट?
I have read it.
रजनी जी, थैंक यू। रवि जी, हैव यू रेड इट?
I have also read it.
ओह, भास्कर जी हैज रेड इट।
Yeah.
सुबोध जी
It was written well.
ओके, गुड।
नहीं सर, नहीं नहीं, मैं नहीं पढ़ पाया।
पढ़िए उसको प्लीज, क्योंकि वो
या
अभी
या
वैसे भी डिस्कस कर रहे हैं हम लोग सेम चीज,
यस
जैसे हाउ अ वाइड स्प्रेड कॉल is that the transition or the climate change should consider a just transition. Okay, so climate is changing. We need to transit from being worse to getting better. But to get better on environmental side, we need to make sure that we are not making unjustifiable requirements or demands from our employee. ओके, बिजनेस में मेरे को 20% तो प्रॉफिट चाहिए. देखिए इक्वेशन कहाँ है. आई नीड 20% profit in my business. Now it is getting challenged because every year there is a two floods are coming, right? My 20% will become 18%. Correct, na? Now I am being injustifiable in my demand. नहीं, मेरे को 20 तो चाहिए ही चाहिए. Rather than considering कि boss, it is not in your control now. Just by pushing my employee to create 20% profit, he has to come walking when there is a flash flood in the area. He might die. Are you getting my point? Okay. So that is the just part of it. That just part of it, that founders, companies understand that there is a requirement of going to 20% or even controlling 18%, but that 18 or 20% profitability should make sense with the employee getting protected so that they can fight with you in the long term. Long term is a keyword. Always I will use that. Yeah. So sectors like employ millennials of millions of workers in energy sector is best example. Coal, manufacturing, agriculture, forestry, all these sectors must restructure themselves because they are the ones who are facing this issue most. Yeah. Somebody was saying that there is a fire going on in coal factories, right? And rather than knowing that the fire is there and you can't do anything about it, forcing our people to go in the mine it for the bring more coal, is it justifiable? Not at all. And that's what the just word comes in play, right? So economic structure should change to create results where the normal employee, ordinary employee and worker do not bear the cost of that transition. Okay. Or they have to leave the job because you are forcing them live in the life of poverty. अब चैलेंज उनके साथ है, आपके साथ नहीं है. आप बोलोगे ठीक है तुझे नहीं जाना ना वहां पर फायर लगाया, यू डू नॉट वांट एंड डिग फॉर द लीव इट. व्हाट आई एम डूइंग, आई एम मेकिंग मोर पुअर पीपल in that area. I will bring it from Nepal, I will bring it from Assam, I will bring it from other corner of Bihar, somewhere some labor will come and work in that scenario as well. But what I am doing, I am creating a society which is poorer. What will he do? He will do more crimes. Okay, you came from Bihar. Okay, let me burn you. You came from Assam. Let me torture you. You came from Nepal. Let me make you to do suicide in Odisha. All that news comes in play. ये मजाक नहीं कर रहे हैं हम लोग, ये सीरियस टॉपिक है. दैट इज हाउ you see crimes increasing because we are making those local people poorer so that they fight in Karnataka. Mein Ravi ji knows that, right? Auto walas versus expat
Yeah,
episodes.
exactly.
It is not that they are doing something wrong. They are in the corner, deep corner. 15,000 एक. Okay, again we will go in different history discussions, but point ये है कि please understand this fabric and as a company be responsible about it, okay, and be justifiable about it. Like water scarcity and mass migration is the issue of environmental megatrend. वहां पे जॉब ही नहीं है, फ्लैश फ्लड अब ज्यादा आने लगी तो they have to move. Clear? And when they go to somebody somewhere else and those guys do not accept them, for example, US is not ready to accept anybody right now, what they will do? They will live in another country, become terrorist of that other country and go and fight with as a mercenary to other country. How will you stop such kind of terrorism? You can't. So this is why you need to understand, and that's why Europeans allowed initially Germany वगैरह में. Of course, it was not a right decision or wrong decision discussion, but point was this was one of those reasons Germany has allowed the mass migration at the time of Lebanon, Syria, Somalia war. Okay, so social megatrends with social impact has to be understood through 3 points. First is the climate change and transition risk. Second is the water scarcity, and third is the mass migration. Where scarcity and desertification is an evident case that environment migrants are nowadays a new reality. Remember that. Environment migrants are what kind of migrants? जिनका लैंड में पानी खत्म हो गया या उनका फील्ड टोटली डेजर्टिफाई हो गया. They are leaving those city villages and going somewhere else and working as a daily laborer. Okay. And these are the people who will be counted as environmental migrants. So this is another key topic I thought you should be knowing. That's why I went into detail. Okay. Now comes the work-life balance. Now, work-life balance is change in work hours. You know that we are in India, the massive growth is coming, specifically in real estate sector, is through GCC expanding in India. Yeah, you know that, right? Millions of square feet has been leased to GCC companies, the global capacity companies. It's American company, but they want Indians to work for them to develop new stuff, not as a call center employee, as a doing innovation, design thinking, all that thing are happening in India. Carbon accounting, सस्टेनेबिलिटी रिपोर्टिंग सब इंडिया में हो रहा है और वहाँ का GRI सर्टिफाइड ऑडिटर इज स्टाम्पिंग एंड गिविंग इट टू देम. Okay, this is how it is happening right now. So that GCC expansion had changed the change in working hour. जो पहले भी हुआ था, you know that call center lifestyle, right? रात में काम करो because US is working, afternoon में काम करो because UK is working. So those need to be understood and deployed. Ravi knows that for sure, right? Ravi faces every day when he wakes up at 4 o'clock
Yeah, absolutely.
to entertain the team in Australia, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
this is the reality. And this is the remote work or automation work. Here, intervention do help. And what kind of impact that has on employee well-being need to be seen and accommodated. Okay. That's what the work-life balance is all about. Of course, the family structure and rights are changing. We need to be cognizant of the new generations, last generation, both generation, and give them the equal footing. We should also give diversity in workforce a place because it brings the creativity, which right now, if you don't have, you will lag like anything. Mahindra has become Mahindra today in this century only. And the reason is they have the creativity. So without creativity, you can't go anywhere. Initiative to improve gender equality is a necessity now than just a requirement. It's a necessity. If you don't fulfill, ESG rating goes down as well as you get isolated. बहुत कम कंपनी को समझ में आ रही है. अगर फीमेल को आप इंगेज नहीं कर रहे हो तो यू आर लूजिंग अ मैसिव क्राउड. मैसिव क्राउड. हम लोग जाते हैं रजनी जी नाउ फॉर रिक्रूटमेंट फॉर इंटर्न्स. अंशिका से पूछो कितने इंटर्न गर्ल्स हैं हमारे अभी बैच में.
Yeah, I think more than 50%.
80% है. 2 लड़के
Yeah.
हैं, 8 लड़कियां हैं. 80% है. क्यों? क्योंकि जो मेल क्राउड है उसको इंटर्नशिप करनी ही नहीं है. ही वॉन्ट्स टू टेक डायरेक्टली 24 लाख का पर एनम का जॉब. ट्रस्ट मी. अभी अभी आपके नेक्स्ट वाले कार्बन अकाउंटिंग में बच्चा आ रहा है, वेल्स फार्गो में पढ़ रहा है. ही इज टेलिंग मी आई डोंट वांट टू डू इंटर्नशिप सर. आई वांट टू डू 24 लाख का पैकेज वाला सस्टेनेबिलिटी का.
हाँ
24 lakhs रजनी जी. ही
तो
वांट्स टू लीव वेल्स
तो
फार्गो.
एक्सपीरियंस के बाद मिलता है.
3 साल 4 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है. वेल्स फार्गो वगैरह तो जीसीसी है ना, तो वो लोग दे देते हैं 20 लाख 15 लाख. ब्राइट कैंडिडेट को लाए, 24 घंटा काम कर रहा है, चाय पानी उसको दिए, वो मस्त काम कर रहा है. यूके में जाके अंशिका नहीं कर रही होगी 24 घंटा, लेकिन ये बच्चा यूके की कंपनी के लिए आज 24 घंटा काम कर रहा है. ही इज गेटिंग 20 lakhs.
यूके वाले तो काफी चिल है. 4:30 बजे सब बंद है.
सी. साढ़े
Offices,
चार.
the work-life balance here is really good. मतलब as soon as it is 4:30, maximum 5, all laptops are closed.
आ जाओ यहाँ पे आप इंडिया में. मतलब यू वर्क
I
इन
work in a
इंडिया, राइट?
startup and the founder himself leaves at 4 o'clock. He's
यहाँ
like, don't stress yourself, just leave.
बिकॉज ही नोज कि प्रोडक्टिविटी का क्या क्या सिचुएशन है. पीपल हु अंडरस्टैंड प्रोडक्टिविटी दे नो. इंडिया में चक्कर क्या है ना कि पर्पसफुली लोग प्रोडक्टिव नहीं है ना. उसको प्रोडक्टिविटी से कुछ लेना देना ही नहीं है. कंपनी में तो एहसान कर रहा हूं मैं, तुमने मुझे लिया है ना, तुम जानो तुमको क्या मेरे से यूज करना है. सो ऐसा मतलब बाय द वे दैट इज ऑल्सो चेंजिंग. आई एम सीइंग पीपल आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर देमसेल्फ. द न्यू क्राउड हैज दिस एडवांटेज ऑल्सो. मीन्स आई ऑलवेज कमेंट फॉर दिस. वो जब काम कर रहे हैं ना, वो एकदम यूके स्टाइल में काम कर रहे हैं. कंप्लीट फोकस है. Trust me, हाँ, कान में he will put or she will put earpiece and listening some song. बट काम जो 1 घंटे में करके दे रहा है, हमारे टाइम में वो उसी काम को 4 घंटे लग रहे थे. Of course, they have new tools to help them, etc. But their focus is really good at that point in time. Of course, they are unfocused in different area, but that area they will be completely focused. So, point here is we need to understand those reality of the structure, family structure, and their rights, and engage them. Okay. And if you won't engage, you are leaving 50% of your human capacity. 50% से ऊपर ही है लेडीज, राइट. इंडिया में ऐसे ही भी वो क्या बोलते हैं, मेल टू फीमेल रेशियो इज डिस्टर्ब्ड. करेक्ट. तो अगर आप वो सेगमेंट को एंगेज नहीं कर रहे हो, एनी वे दे आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड, इफ दे आर वर्किंग मदर्स एक्सेट्रा, दे डू नॉट वांट टू लीव देयर सिटी, राइट. क्योंकि बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं एक्सेट्रा, दे टेक ऑलवेज एडिशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द फैमिली. और उसके बाद भी आप उनको नहीं रख रहे हो कंपनी में, तो यू आर मिसिंग आउट एट 50% ऑफ द क्राउड विच यू वुड हैव एडेड 55%, 60% ऑफ योर प्रोडक्टिविटी. दैट इज वाई improving gender equality is important. Anyway, there are several other examples which we book cite according to different case study. We will learn those case study as well. And then comes the demographic and health, which I have highlighted very clearly in terms of a growing population, aging population, impact of COVID-19 and increasing life expectancy. पहले 70 साल में लोग सही में चले जाते थे, अब बढ़ गई है लाइफ. ठीक है. और लाइफ बढ़ गई है और आपके पास उतना संसाधन नहीं है कि आप उसको कैरी कर पाओ. इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ते जा रहा है, राइट. इन्फ्लेशन इज ग्रोइंग. जो आप 10 साल पहले खरीद पा रहे थे 1 रुपए में, आज वो नहीं खरीद पाओगे. एंड दैट ऑल्सो इज अ चैलेंज टू द पीपल हु आर गेटिंग ओल्ड, बिकॉज उनको नया कहीं से इनकम नहीं मिलना है ना. So that's the demographic and health. And then, of course, urbanization is also important topic where shift from rural to urban areas are a fact of life now. And business opportunity, infrastructure, and social and environmental issues is critical area to understand that. Apart from that, religion and consumer preferences also need to be understand based on which country, which part of world you are in. How faith-based investing work need to be understood, and then bring those norms or norms-based exclusion in your operation so that you are successful in Kerala. अब केरला में जाओ, बोलो कि नहीं यहाँ पे काउ स्लॉटरिंग शुड बी बैंड, सारे एम्प्लॉय भाग जाएंगे.
No, no.
हिंदू भी खाते हैं वहां पे. Miss, I
Oh,
was very surprised when I came to know. I came to know when I came to know कि हिंदू भी काऊ खाते हैं, क्योंकि वो कल्चर में उनके पौंडीचेरी, इसको क्या बोलते हैं, इसको नहीं, श्री श्री का वहां सबसे बड़ा सेंटर है कृष्ण जी का, बिंदास खाते हैं रोड पे. सो पॉइंट ये है कि कल्चरल फेथ बेस्ड अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ सोशल फैब्रिक ऑल्सो इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके. वही आप जाओ दिल्ली में जाके काम करो, आपको लोग काट देंगे. यूपी में जाके करो, काट देंगे, रास्ते पे आपको लिंच कर देंगे, मॉब लिंचिंग हो जाएगी, राइट. पॉसिबल ही नहीं है क्योंकि वहां बैन है, बैन हो गया है. So these kind of social fabric has to be understood and implemented. मतलब क्या? A mess. I'm just giving you a simple example how company can play with this. So जो कंपनी का कैंटीन है उसमें आपको केयरफुल होना होगा, राइट. और कितने एपिसोड्स हैं लास्ट में, वी हैव हर्ड अबाउट इट. एंड इंटरनेशनल अरीना में इट्स अ डिफरेंट डिस्कशन एज वेल. सो की सोशल इश्यूज which also need to be understood, and it starts with human capital, right. Human capital need to be understood and capitalized. Treat your human resource as a capital. Means what? That spend them judiciously. Spend them where you need to use them. Don't use them unnecessarily. यूज देम इन राइट कैपेसिटी. उनका एजुकेशन का यूज करिए, उनके ट्रेनिंग का यूज करिए, उनकी कैपेसिटी का यूज करिए, उनको ट्रेन करिए. प्रोडक्ट लाइबिलिटी एंड कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन वी हैव डिस्कस इन डिटेल. एक्सेस ऑफ नॉलेज नीड टू बी अंडरस्टूड एंड डेवलप. अब आपने कंपनी खोल दी इंदौर में, और सारे सॉफ्टवेयर कोडर्स बैठे हुए हैं बैंगलोर में, विल योर कंपनी विल बी एबल टू डू जस्टिस? नहीं कर पाएगी. बैंगलोर वाला बैंगलोर छोड़ के इंदौर नहीं जाने वाला, और इंदौर की कंपनी कैन नॉट अफोर्ड अ बैंगलोर का ऑफिस. सो दैट्स द चैलेंज. यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट हाउ टू एक्सेस द नॉलेज, राइट. तो वहां पे ही ऑफिस लेना चाहिए जहां पे आपको उस कैपेसिटी आपको मिल सके. देन कम्स द हेल्थ एंड न्यूट्रिशन. यू हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ इट. नाउ हु न्यू that in 2010 to 2020, specifically 2018, Gujarat as a state, which is a state of rich, right? State of our prime minister, had a malnutrition cases to the extent it was leading in world. कितने लोगों को मालूम है? This is how the PK, there is a guy called PK, right? Prasant Kishore, who came into play and got introduced to Modi ji, and that's how he became famous. Clear? This was the issue, what he was working for the United Nations. And then animal welfare, which is Vanantra, another case study. What we need to understand is the social factor which impacts the internal stakeholder, and also some of these social factor impacts your external stakeholder. Internal stakeholder is employee. So human capital development is one of those area which you need to work. जो हम कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, human capital development, which is skill development, train them well. Then working condition, health, safety has to be considered to all of them or given benefit of it. Human rights, another area which we need to protect. It doesn't mean we have to give them the labor rights, but labor rights and employee standard need to be followed so that your compliance remain in check. When we talk about external, of course, we are talking about stakeholder opposition in that locality, controversial sourcing in that locality, product liability and consumer protection. आपका कंपनी जहां भी ऑपरेट कर रहा है, हाउ इट इज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्ट लाइबिलिटी ऑफ देयर प्रोडक्ट, एंड आर वी प्रोटेक्टिंग आवर कंज्यूमर्स. सोशल अपॉर्चुनिटी, डू वी हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी कि धारावी में मैंने कंपनी खोली, धारावी को लोगों को एम्प्लॉय दे सकूं, एम्प्लॉयमेंट दे सकूं. डू वी हैव सच काइंड ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी? आर देयर capable engineers are getting out of Dharavi? Do we have a college in Dharavi which teaches engineering? Yeah. So how to create that opportunity? Mr. Adani need to think who is creating a social housing and capture that social opportunity. देखा आपने, रिलायंस यहाँ मिस कर रहा है. आप देख रहे हो ना, रिलायंस के जहां भी ऑफिसेस हैं, मतलब हु नोज बेटर देन सुबोध जी, वट एवर केमिकल ही इज रिलेटेड विथ, रिलायंस ऑपरेट हाफ ऑफ इट. सारा पेट्रोकेमिकल में वो लोग काम करते हैं. जहां है वहां पे कुछ ऐसा वो कर रहे हैं जिससे वो सोशल अपॉर्चुनिटी को कैपिटलाइज करके बेटर नेम ले, अदर देन जस्ट डूइंग वर्शिपिंग द्वारकाधीश के दर्शन एक्सेट्रा के अलावा. कैन दे एंगेज जस्ट नॉट बाय फीडिंग
They're
और
doing many things in Jamnagar, sir. Jamnagar में तो जहाँ
कर रहे
रिफाइनरी.
हैं, बिल्कुल कर रहे हैं. नहीं, आई अग्री विथ यू, बट ओनली वन लोकेशन ना. हाजिरा में प्लांट है उनका, उनका मुंबई में प्लांट है, उनका घर मुंबई में है. तो केवल 6 दिन की पार्टी देने से चलेगा कि पूरे साल का ऑक्यूपेशन देने से चलेगा, या एजुकेशन देने से चलेगा उस लोकालिटी में, सो दैट
अदानी
दोस
कौन सा
किड्स.
कर रहा है सर? अदानी कौन सा कर रहा है?
भाई मैं तो
और
इसीलिए तो
क्या
But they
अडानी
are
ना,
building
अडानी ने,
around this now.
देखिए अडानी ने एक जॉब लिया है ना धारावी के स्लम को अपग्रेड करने का, तो अडानी का नाम मैंने लिया है कि उसके पास सोशल अपॉर्चुनिटी है इफ ही वांट्स टू कैपिटलाइज. ये उसके
माथेरान माथेरान का में बहुत काम कर रहे हैं रिलायंस.
रिलायंस, ओके. वहां पे कौन सा प्लांट है भाई में, माथेरान में क्या करते हैं वो लोग?
माथेरान के बाजू में मीन इट इज नियर बाय बॉम्बे ना सर.
अच्छा.
पाताल गंगा में है ना, पाताल गंगा.
पाताल
पातालगंगा.
गंगा.
हम्म.
ओके.
पाताल गंगा से माथेरान इज हार्डली 40-50 किलो.
हम्म.
ओके. ऐसे दिल्ली में पाताल लोक बोलते हैं जमुना पार को. हाँ, चलिए कोई नहीं. ऐसा पॉइंट ये है
आप
कि
कहाँ के रहने वाले हैं सर? दिल्ली के कहाँ
दिल्ली
के?
में मैं गाजियाबाद में हूँ, सो आई एम लिटिल वेल ऑफ. मतलब झगड़ा नहीं है, वैशाली में था पहले, अभी वसुंधरा सेक्टर 10 में हूँ. तो
अच्छा.
और मेरा एक घर नोएडा में भी है, सो वो तो इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए लिया हुआ है.
हम्म.
ब्रदर वगैरह वहां पे है, अभी मैं वहां नहीं रहता हूँ, मैं तो बैंगलोर में फुल टाइम. देन कम्स एक्सटर्नल में सोशल अपॉर्चुनिटी जो मैं हाईलाइट कर रहा हूँ, इस तरह की अपॉर्चुनिटी जहां पे भी कंपनी ऑपरेट करे, इफ उस एरिया को डेवलप करने की कोशिश करे, दे कैन गेट मोर लॉयल एम्प्लॉय. बेस्ट केस कौन सा होगा यहाँ पे? एनीबडी वांट्स टू ट्राई? विच विल बी द बेस्ट केस हियर टू हाईलाइट दिस फैक्ट? यू कैन.
टाटा.
सॉरी.
टाटास.
टाटा. जमशेदपुर देख लो, सबसे बेस्ट एग्जांपल है.
क्या
उनको
टाउनशिप बनाते हैं? पहले टाउनशिप बनाते हैं, बाद में काम शुरू
बाद
करते
में काम करते हैं, और हमेशा वहां के ही एम्प्लॉय को एंगेज करते हैं, वो एम्प्लॉय बसा देते हैं वहां पे लाकर.
हैं. नहीं,
सो
बहुत लॉयलिटी भी है सर वहां पर.
क्वालिटी भी है. जमशेदपुर है, जमशेदपुर सिटी हो गया है,
हम्म.
right? So animal welfare and antimicrobial resistance. Here, animal welfare, I really like Vanantra as a concept. At least he's trying to do something. And antimicrobial resistance, etc., need to be considered by healthcare companies specifically, where they understand how to do that. Key social issue में, of course, investor has to determine what is the most controversial or financially material social factors in my industry which I need to address. That need identification, the materiality aspect again, right? That is steps. We need to bring that model of materiality assessment so that we can find out those controversial topic or financial material topic. Then comes the assessing how exposed companies, the company which has no other way, like manufacturing of alcohol company, they are exposed, right? They, you lament them whatever may be. इसलिए जनरली लोग करते नहीं है, केवल पॉलिटिशियन करते हैं वो काम। क्यों? क्योंकि उनको फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता ना, गाली देने दो। नहीं तो जहां भी अल्कोहल की फैक्ट्री लगती है, आसपास की सोसाइटी इंपैक्टफुल होती है, मैंने देखा हुआ है, राइट? These factors and how they manage this risk, only politician knew, and that's why they were doing it. And now, of course, it became now it became a very famous topic. By the way, Sula wines. How many of you are aware about Sula wines?
No, I'm aware. I'm aware. Sula Wines.
Yeah, I'm aware.
You know they have a different business model now. जो इटली में और यूरोप में था, वाइनरी टूरिज्म, दे हैव इंट्रोड्यूस्ड दैट इन नासिक
हाँ,
में।
they
हाँ,
they take
क्या?
visit to the wineries and they
600
teach
रुपए
them how
में,
to make wines.
600 रुपए में यू कैन गो एंड टेस्ट एनी काइंड ऑफ वाइन इन दैट
Yes.
premise. 600 रुपए में, they have started with maximum is 1500 for a day. They
It's a
have
the tourism, sir.
मैसिव टूरिज्म सुला वाइन ने स्टार्ट करके रखा हुआ है। पहले वो केवल पंचगनी में होती थी स्ट्रॉबेरी के लिए, और वहां पे क्या बोलते हैं उसको, फज और स्ट्रॉबेरी मिलती थी।
अरे बहुत साल से है ये मतलब, दस साल
हाँ,
से तो है कम से कम।
नहीं नहीं, वो तो बाय द वे द ओनर्स वेर जर्मनी से थी या यूरोपियन है वो, और जो लेडी है हु इज द हु स्टार्टेड दिस एज ए सीईओ, शी वाज आउटसाइडर, and now that company is IPO listed and they have additional income coming from 3,25,000 people this year has gone to winery tourism. या और फैमिली, ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब आपको दारू ही पीना है जाके वहां पे, आप नहीं पियो वाइन, आप जाके वहां पे ग्रेप्स एंजॉय करो, राइट? एंड हैव दैट, इट्स अ कंप्लीट फैमिली स्टफ व्हिच यू कैन एंजॉय सच काइंड ऑफ स्टफ। सो माय पॉइंट इज, ये भी एक इशू है व्हिच नीड टू बी अंडरस्टूड, वेयर रिलेवेंट, एंड assess the critical social factor in the supply chain, address those. Social factor has definite impact on the external stakeholder, which is your customer, community, and government. एन इंटरनल स्टेक होल्डर विच इज एम्प्लॉय। तो चार स्टेक होल्डर इंपैक्ट होते हैं केवल एक टॉपिक से, विच इज सोशल। विच आर फोर? कैन यू रिपीट फॉर मी, एनीवन? सुबोध जी पहला बताइए, स्टेक होल्डर में कौन सा स्टेक होल्डर, एक्सटर्नल स्टेक होल्डर आप बताइए।
क्या नहीं समझा सर?
हु इज द external stakeholder which gets impacted because of the social factor?
Customer,
Customer.
कस्टमर,
Second,
सप्लायर,
suppliers.
supply employee,
Employee is the internal one, right?
internal.
Only one internal is employee. Then three,
सोसाइटी अराउंड ना,
sorry,
सोसाइटी
community, absolutely, that's the external.
अराउंड।
So human capital management में three things you need to know: the importance of human capital in long term, what are the benefits of good human capital management, and what are the opposite side of it. Rana Plaza disaster is a good case study. To which day we should meet? Tuesday again?
हाँ, Tuesday.
Tuesday
ठीक है,
क्लास करते हैं, केस स्टडी एंड क्वेश्चन आंसर, दैट्स इट,
ठीक
नथिंग।
है।
No problem.
स्टडी आपने बना के लेके आना है, क्वेश्चन आंसर मैंने देना है।
ठीक है, बना देंगे। कौन सा बनाना है?
सेलेक्ट कर लीजिएगा लिस्टिंग। हु वांट्स टू डू द लिस्टिंग? अंशिका, कैन यू लिस्ट ऑल द केस स्टडी इन द चैट बॉक्स, इन अपने ग्रुप में?
For the social chapter.
हाँ, सोशल चैप्टर में राणा प्लाजा है, कोविड-19 है, जो भी है
ठीक है,
उसको आप लिस्ट कर दो। लेट एवरीबॉडी टेक वन केस स्टडी, ओके?
got it.
ट्यूसडे।
सर कोविड-19 तो मैंने कर दिया है।
तो आप ही करो फिर, कोविड-19 आप ही कर लेना।
कोविड-19 में कर दिया।
राना प्लाजा सर हम कर देंगे।
डन। उसके बाद 3-4 और केस है, तो सब आदमी एक एक ले सकते।
इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है, देख रही हूँ तो इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है।
इंटरेस्टिंग है। ह्यूमन कैपिटल डेवलपमेंट में ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव टू इंश्योर दैट योर वर्कफोर्स इज वेल इक्विप्ड मतलब उसको सॉफ्ट स्किल एंड हार्ड स्किल दोनों में अपग्रेड करते रहना है आपको। इसीलिए BRSR में देर इज अ टॉपिक ऑन इट विच यू हैव टू रिपोर्ट एवरी ईयर दैट हाउ मच ट्रेनिंग यू हैव डन इन दैट ईयर। If it's 100% employee, 50% employee, 30% employee, that percentage need to be given.
3 नंबर पैरा था ना, 3 नंबर में।
Absolutely. 3 नंबर का प्रिंसिपल था। वेरी गुड रजनी। Operate under latest standard and remain motivated. Good management enhances inclusion of citizenship and competitiveness. Investors should assess the skill identification, talent attraction, and monitoring of human capital. तो पुराना वाला फंडामेंटल HR वाला नहीं देखने का है। HR को बोलना है भाई थोड़ा अपग्रेड करो अपने आप को। जस्ट डोंट डू रिक्रूटमेंट एज ए प्रोसेस। मेक श्योर दैट यू ऑलवेज एसेस द स्किल विच इज कॉल्ड कैपेसिटी डेवलपमेंट एक्सरसाइज, राइट। कॉम्पिटेंसी मैपिंग करवाते हैं आज के डेट में, राइट। सो उसमें व्हाट आर द फैक्टर्स वी कैन ब्रिंग सो दैट न्यू टैलेंट्स वी कैन अट्रैक्ट, we can monitor the existing talent में investment and what output I'm getting. Here I need to look the working condition. Are they getting transport properly? Are they getting proper timing to report? Are they getting proper coach, mentor, etc.? Do they have health and safety? Protecting work from accident and fatalities not only helps the employee, but it double helps the company. क्योंकि हमारा कैलकुलेशन क्या है? लॉस टाइम इंजरी। व्हाट इट मींस, हमारा लॉस कितना हुआ टाइम में, एक इंजरी हुआ तो। आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? एंड दैट्स हाउ राणा प्लाजा डिजास्टर हाइलाइट्स दैट रिस्क व्हिच रजनी जी वांट्स टू डू। Investors should assess performance of both permanent employee and contracted one. It includes employee well-being, mental health, and financial wellness. Human rights and labor rights are another key issue. Here, OECD, ILO need to be read and understood, which is Universal Declaration for Human Rights. There are key guidelines, which is coming from these two books for companies and investors need to be understood. And do not ignore modern slavery and forced labor, which we have discussed in this last session. Human rights and labor rights, of course, inherit all human beings are same, right? That's a human rights requirement कि सब आदमी same है. So nobody should try to overpower the other, irrespective of caste, creed, and cultural identity. UDHR is that particular.
Gender also.
Sorry, gender, of course, gender. Okay,
Gender.
who is saying? Okay, violation offer occurs deep within the supply chain. It happens at your company level, Rajni ji. IRCTs might be maintaining all the requirements, but the supply chain, no, the contractor who
No,
works.
only movement percentage is only 6%.
तो कंपनी लेवल पे भी खराब है। 33 तो मिनिमम
हाँ,
होना चाहिए।
वो है हमें हर जगह वो इनिशियल सिलेक्शन में ही गर्ल्स नहीं आई,
नहीं, और
टीचर रिक्रूट हुआ तो
because they don't understand, right?
आउटसोर्सिंग में वी मेक इट अ पॉइंट कि हाँ हम उसे कवर करें।
लेकिन आउटसोर्सिंग में एक्सप्लॉइटेशन ज्यादा है। अभी जो आप तेजस चला रहे हैं, आप लोग तेजस नहीं, क्या नाम है, तेजस है ना, दिल्ली से आगरा या दिल्ली से
वो वंदे भारत है सर।
वंदे भारत है, सॉरी, वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस में है। वहां पे लेडी को डिप्लॉय किया है एज ए स्टूवर्ड्स एंड
हाँ,
दे हैव बीन एक्सप्लॉइटेड। मतलब ऑफ कोर्स है, एक तो इंडियन क्राउड वैसी है। आप जाके यूके में करके देख लें, जाके दुबई में करके देख लें, आप
कभी
किसी।
कभी आती हो जाती है सर। इन जनरली अगर मान लीजिए आपकी 100 गाड़ियां चल रही हैं, 100 में से अगर एक आध में कोई ऐसा एपिसोड होता है तो वहां का क्राउड इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल। लड़की तो बेचारी, उसने क्या किया हो।
वही प्रॉब्लम है ना, वही तो प्रॉब्लम है। तो वो सेफगार्ड करना भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ योर
वो
क्लाइंट।
हमारी जिम्मेदारी है, वो वहाँ
बिल्कुल।
ट्रेन की जिम्मेदारी है, ट्रेन कैप्टन की जिम्मेदारी है। क्यों ऐसा हुआ।
डेफिनेटली। एंड टेक इट इमीडिएट एक्शन, सो एक एग्जांपल सेट हो जाए, नेक्स्ट टाइम कोई कुछ ना कर पाए। दैट इज व्हाट इंडिया रिक्वायर्स टू।
कौन सी ट्रेन की बात करी और किस डेट को हुआ था।
वंदे भारत में स्टुअर्डशिप लड़कियों को रखा गया रिसेंटली इन क्लास 1 एग्जीक्यूटिव क्लास में। रिसेंटली क्या, 2 साल से है। एंड देर आर सर्टेन एपिसोड विच हैज बीन हर्ड। सो पॉइंट हियर इज, वो ऑफ कोर्स क्राउड राउडी है, वो रूट राउडी है, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा, बट
कभी
पॉइंट
कभी
ये,
आते हैं ऐसे गंदे लोग,
वो
आते हैं।
क्या ही
एक
करोगे।
कस्टमर,
वो केवल उसमें घुसा ही है उसके लिए। कैन यू बिलीव दैट? दैट्स द मेंटालिटी वी।
होगा उसका कुछ।
वो, हाँ, वो 1000 रुपए दे के इसी के लिए आया है कि थोड़ा छेड़ेंगे, मजे लेंगे, एंजॉय करेंगे, काइंड ऑफ। सो दैट क्राउड यू कैन नॉट हैंडल। वहां पे है कि आपको प्रोटेक्शन सिस्टम होनी चाहिए सो दैट दे कैन नॉट प्ले विथ इट। और स्ट्रांग रूल्स होने चाहिए, कोई स्केप गोट नहीं बना सके। टीटी स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, आरएफपी आरपीएफ स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, सो दैट
सर एकदम, अगर इस लड़की ने कहीं खबर गई होती ना, वो लड़के उतार दिए गए होते, गाड़ी रोक के उतार दिए होते।
वही पॉइंट है।
एनसीआर में जो सीएससी है इस समय, वो एकदम उतार देता।
ऐसे लोग ही चाहिए, ऐसे लोग
मैं
ऐसे
पता
गाड़ी
लगाऊंगी
में।
कौन सा एपिसोड हुआ है वहां के सीएससी से ही बात करके, कौन सा एपिसोड हुआ भाई।
ये तो 2 3 4 महीने पहले की बात है, बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग देयर आर एपिसोड्स हैव,
वन ऑफ द एग्जांपल शुड नॉट हैव हैपेंड।
एंड दे शुड सेट एग्जांपल।
डैमेज द इमेज ऑफ द कंपनी, यस।
बिल्कुल, न्यूज तो हमेशा रॉन्ग की ही आएगी, अच्छी की तो आएगी नहीं। न्यूज का
ऑब्वियस,
काम यही होता
आप
है।
पब्लिक में हैं।
हाँ, तो आपने उसी समय अगर एग्जाम्पल सेट कर दिया गया होता रेलवे के द्वारा, उनको पकड़ के प्रॉपरली उनको ट्रीट करके, अब तो वीडियो का सिस्टम है, वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करके सेम जहां वीडियो पे रिकॉर्ड हो रहा था वो लड़की का त्रासदी, अगर उस आदमी का भी त्रासदी रिकॉर्ड होके सेम वे में फैला जाता, ये एपिसोड वापस रिपीट नहीं होना है। एंड दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव लर्नड इन आवर सोसाइटी। आपने एक बार अच्छे से ट्रीट कर दिया, वो रिपीट नहीं होता है। जो नहीं कर रहे हो रिपीट हो रहा है। एनीवे, लेट्स नॉट गो देयर। लेबर राइट्स पे आते हैं लास्ट पॉइंट में। इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव अ कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर and employee satisfaction, and here ILO, in International Labor Organization standard, helps you. Okay, so there is some clauses which has been listed in the book. If somebody wants, and if we are not having enough case study, there is enough case study, but if there are very small one, somebody can take this यूएनएच यूडीएचआर एंड आईएलओ में क्या स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं जो इम्पैक्ट करते हैं सोशल फैक्टर, somebody can take that as a case study if we don't have. So Anchika, just add that one more. So instead of only the case study, somebody can take the provisions and talk about it so people can relate with it. Final is external social factor, which is stakeholder opposition and controversial sourcing, where we need to understand product liability, consumer protection, social opportunity, and access to medicine. Now, external social factor में opposition from your stakeholder is a major stuff apart from controversial sourcing. Now, company has to have good faith or good relationship with local community. How they can do it? Of course, everybody knows. CSR. Now there is a requirement that if you are in Maharashtra, you need to pick up a CSR activity in Assam. There is another requirement which has come recently. So that becomes an issue. But as long as you can keep engaging your community, specifically the local ones, maintain a good relationship with them, yeah, uh, provide them certain processes which are free, prior and informed consent is taken. FPIC, this is another key word in this chapter on which question can be framed. Free, prior and informed consent. If you have from the local community, you will never have opposition from them. Okay, that's the key. Controversial sources like conflict minerals, blood diamonds, everybody knows about it. Otherwise, watch a movie called Blood Diamonds. Very nice movie. Yeah. That how people exploit minors to get their luxury. Okay. That's poses a business reputational risk. And this has, nice. This has a product liability. This has a FPIC definitely helps here. And then comes the product liability and consumer protection, where consumer protection laws safeguard consumer rights and consumer court is really active. Trust me, it is active. Penalties are small, so people are enjoying, but you never know which government will increase those penalty. And current Modi government, at least if they come to know that this is the loophole in the system, they will fix it up very soon. If they fix it up, be careful as a company, because then you will have a massive kind of problem like we have done in traffic violation case. You know that twice they have increased it, not one time, twice. Still accidents are very high, people are driving without helmet, without seat belt, etc., etc. But penalty, official penalty has been increased twice in last 3 years. Yeah, so there is certain places where credit is due and this government has to be given that due. Okay. And this is, people think that why they are increasing 1,000 रुपया सर पे हेलमेट नहीं रखने का। बॉस, आप नहीं जानते हो, हॉस्पिटल जाओगे ना, 10 लाख में भी आपको कोई नहीं बचा सकता। नहीं समझते हैं लोग, मतलब Of course, we also break rules sometimes. We go little over speed, but I'm saying take a risk without playing with your own life. That's my thought process on the taking risk and violating law. लॉ तो वायलेट करना ही चाहिए, नहीं तो रेवोल्यूशन नहीं आएगा लाइफ में. But do it without risking your life. That's what the point is. And then, of course, careful about your defective product, which leads to nowadays lawsuit and reputational risk. Then, of course, there is a social opportunity gets created, and you have animal welfare and antimicrobial resistance, which India is known for, by the way. Is there is one virus which is a superbug. It's called as superbug. People who comes to get cured in India may get that. Once that news is spread, medical tourism in India, at least the luxury side has gone down. Otherwise, people used to trust Indian system, even the luxury side. ऑफ कोर्स एक क्राउड है जो अमेरिका जाके इलाज करवाता है, सोनिया गांधी एक्सेट्रा. एक क्राउड है जो अमेरिका से यहाँ आके इलाज कराता है. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू नो दैट? मैसिव क्राउड है वो.
ना मेडिकल टूरिज्म तो सब जानते हैं ना, मेडिकल टूरिज्म इज ग्रोइंग.
वेरी
आप
ह्यूज इट वाज
कि लास्ट 4 years वेलनेस टूरिज्म इज ग्रोइंग.
एब्सोल्युटली. अब अंशिका को ही अगर उसकी तबीयत खराब होगी वो इंडिया आके इलाज कराएगी, नहीं कराएगी वहां पे. एक तो सिस्टम ही वहां पे स्ट्रांग नहीं है, दूसरा
यूके में तो खैर हालत खराब है, यूके की तो बात.
अपॉइंटमेंट ही नहीं मिलेगा. सिस्टम स्ट्रांग
हाँ,
तो
बता
दूसरी
तो
बात
रही
है.
थी कि 16 महीने का गैप है शायद.
last time she was telling. So this is the point. We need to be careful. However, this is the advantage India carries, country like India carries, but they need to be careful about the hygiene part of it. Okay. Otherwise, you create a superbug, which people have, few people have got it from India, and that has spoiled a massive name for India. 2% तो ऐसे भी मेडिकल टूरिज्म से आता है, उसमें भी अगर 0.2% भी अगर चला गया बिकॉज ऑफ सच काइंड ऑफ न्यूज, we are losing a massive number and foreign exchange for the country. So we should be careful about it. Here a
बहुत
keyword.
कर दिया था इन्होंने, इसलिए ऐसा हुआ.
Sorry.
बहुत लिबरल कर दिया था सर
हाँ,
मेडिकल.
बहुत लिबरल कर दिया था. और मतलब
उन्होंने नीति आयोग के पोर्टल में डालकर आपका एफिलिएशन करा दिया. छोटे मोटे टॉम डिक एंड हैरी हॉस्पिटल्स लिंक हो गए, तो सुपर
right,
पॉवर नहीं आनी थी.
बिल्कुल.
एजेंट्स काम कर रहे थे ना सब.
एजेंट काम कर रहे थे. एंड ऑफ कोर्स ये थोड़ा है, चैलेंज है हमारे यहाँ. और सुबोध जी बोलते हैं तो मुझे बुरा लगता है कि हम बहुत स्लो है, लेकिन क्या करें, हम स्लो हैं. अब उसको तो चेंज नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं कि हम लोग ये सब को समझ के इम्प्लीमेंट करें, लोगों को ज़्यादा अवेयर करें. then maybe we become little faster. Okay. And here a keyword which you should remember on external social factor is fair 1 hour extra, which is a investor initiative focused specifically on these kind of risk. Which kind of risk? Animal welfare and antimicrobial resistance as a investor. Yeah. So you need to consider whenever you do the investment. There is a key point at the end. Definitely read that so that it will help you when you will come to give the examination on Tuesday. Yeah. With that, we end for this. We have reached to the end of the session. Any question you have, you can ask now, or we will meet on Tuesday, one extra lesson to discuss the same.